Alright, hello third grade. So we've gone over formatting and capitalizing titles. So let's do a quick review on that. So we know for poems, songs, or articles, those are in quotation marks. But if it is a book, movie, play, TV show, magazine, or newspaper, those are in italics. And italics is where it's just slanted. But now today we're going to be talking about punctuation dialogue. So dialogue in our writing, when we read it, is a book where someone might say in the book, Miss Quinn said to line up quietly. So it's what she said, so we would put quotations around it because that's her talking. So let's go over. A quotation shows the exact words that a person said. When writing a quotation, capitalize the first word. So just like our titles, the first word is capitalized. The entire quotation, including the end mark, should go inside the quotation. So it says, I have to leave now, she said. So you have the quotations around the words that she said directly. And then, unless it's a question or an exclamation point, you're going to add a comma right here. But that should be on the inside of the quotation marks. So here it says, where are you going? He asked. We can see the question mark is on the inside of the quotations. So that would be the end mark is on the inside of the quotation marks. If the quotation ends a sentence, then add a comma before it. So that would look like this. So here, the quotation, the words that were directly said, it wasn't the end of the sentence, it was at the beginning. So we'd add a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation point. But if it's at the end, the comma comes before. So she said, comma, and then we have a quotation, I have to leave now, period. Quotation. So again, our end mark is the period because it's ending the sentence, so we add a quotation. He asked, comma, and then we add our quotation marks, where are you going, question mark, quotation. So it's going to be different depending where the quotations are in the sentence. So here, we have the comma here because the sentence is still going. It's not the end of the sentence, so the period's here. So just like here, the comma just kind of switches place. So if the quotation starts a sentence and would normally end in a period, then change the period to a comma. If the quotation ends with an exclamation mark or a question mark, don't change it to a comma. So I have to leave now is just a normal sentence. We're not going to add a question mark. We're not going to add an exclamation point. So that period turns to a comma, unless it's at the end of the sentence. But here, where are you going? That is a question. So if it ends in a question mark or exclamation, there are exceptions. We keep those in the sentence, in the quotation. Questions can be used to show dialogue, which is a conversation between two or more people. So if you just said, where are you going, comma, he asked, it doesn't really help. We want to see that it's a question, and that question mark is going to help show us when we're reading that he's reading it like, where are you going? Kind of like that. So here, this sentence is correct. It says, she stated, comma, the ship just arrived in the harbor. So right away, the period should be inside the quotation mark. So that's wrong. So it would have to look like this, where it goes period and then the quotation on the outside. So let's go over some examples together. Which sentence is correct? My camera stopped working again, Reggie complained. So automatically when we're looking at this, we know that that's just a normal sentence. It's not going to have a question mark or an exclamation point. So we change that period after again to a comma. But remember, it's after again. So here we have the quotations, but that comma has to be inside the quotations because the quotation is at the beginning of the sentence. So our correct one, this one has a period, which we know the period turns into a comma. So this one would be the correct one because it goes the quotation, comma, and then the quotation mark outside the comma. So this one would be our correct answer. So now let's look at this one. Which sentence is correct? We should get ready to exercise, she suggests. So again, this is just a normal statement. It doesn't have a question mark or an exclamation. So we know where the period would go, we change to a comma. And the period would go right after exercise. So this one looks really good because the comma is before the quotation mark since it's at the beginning of a sentence. And then she suggests, here there's no quotation marks, and this one shows 2 sentences. So these we know would be wrong. And then let's find out what's wrong with this one. Here, they forgot the comma. The period changes to a comma, so that would be incorrect too. So this would be our correct answer. And let's do another example. Which sentence is correct? There's a huge brown bear outside our tent, the boy screamed. So here we have to look at it. So remember, if it's with an exclamation point, we don't change that to a comma. That stays the same. But here they have a comma and an exclamation point, but we just need one. But the good news is they're inside the quotation marks, and that's what we want too. Here, there's a huge brown bear outside our tent, the boy screamed. So the doesn't need to be capitalized because this is still one sentence with quotation marks. So this one wouldn't be correct. This is showing 2 different sentences, but we are just using one sentence. So let's look at our last one. There's a huge brown bear outside our tent, the boy screamed. So this would be our correct one. The exclamation point is inside the quotation marks. And again, the sentence continues because it's one sentence, so the does not need to be capitalized. So now let's do a few more. We're just going to do the first 2, or let's do these 2. She noted the cherry blossoms are beautiful. Is this sentence correct? Well, let's see. We have the comma after she noted. So since the quotation is at the end, the comma comes at the beginning. So that's good. And then the cherry blossoms are beautiful. Remember, the first word of our quotation marks needs to be capitalized, and the period is inside the quotation mark. So yes, this sentence is correct. We checked off all the boxes. So now when we look here, the doctor asked, where does it hurt? So we see the doctor asked, again, the quotation's at the end, so the comma comes before. Then we have our quotation, where does it hurt? But where is the first word of our quotation? That is lowercase. Remember, that should always be uppercase. So no, it is not a correct sentence, but we can give them a thumbs up because they did remember to put the question mark inside the quotation and not on the outside. So I'll leave it here so you can read through this again and take some notes, and just remember to take your time. As you're reading each one, make sure you're checking off each box, knowing where the quotation is, knowing where the comma goes. And have fun. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, third grade.